Hello there guys, and welcome to Saturday's live stream for IFMC here for the GP2 end of season test. I'm JWF1 and we are here for the last bit of action for IFMC GP2 this season after what had been a complete whitewash for a Red Bull Academy with Felix Rosenqvist taking the championship. Is now just the end of season test left for the GP2 drivers. Well, I say GP2 drivers, it's basically the S5 field with some odd exceptions of course, but it should be very interesting to see what each team can deliver with their lineups, and for some that carry S4 lineups and some random ones as well. But we'll get onto those in a little bit as well. But most of the drivers are here today for Season 5. Two teams are still to announce their Season 5 lineups, and we will get on with that in a little bit. As you can see, bright and sunny conditions here at the Yas Marina Circuit, and our testing session awaits with TV graphics. So before we start then, as per usual, let's have a look at the drivers and teams that will be taking part in today's end of season test. So for East Midlands Racing, you're going to be seeing Nicholas Latifi and Alexander Albon. For Vortex Racing, Mitch Evans and Lucas Yora. Vortex is still yet to announce their Season 5 lineup, so they're using their Season 4 lineup instead. Over at Academy, you're going to be seeing Sergio Setikamara and Artem Markelov. And then over at Lightbase Sony Racing, we have Lance Stroll and Antonio Fuoco. Willow's Grand Prix you would have Jolyon Palmer and Callum Elott, but they're not here. That's because they have an end of season test ban as a result of their part in getting the budget run for Martini Motorsport, and they're also banned from the GP3 test tomorrow as well. So they're not here. So moving on to GOM Junior, you're going to be seeing Antonio Felix da Costa and Nikita Mazepin. And just like with Vortex Racing, GOM Junior still yet to announce their Season 5 lineup. So, and as a result of their Season 4 lineup, drivers moving to different teams for Season 5, they will be having the services of their GRM top class test driver, Antonio Felix da Costa and Nikita Mazepin, who took part for one weekend this season for RSPCA Racing in Season 4. Antonio is in the series mainly because even though he was in the top class, there is a new rule now which states that if a driver is between the age of 16 to 30, has 0 to 1.9 years F1 experience, in real life that is, and on top of that as well has not completed a full season of IFMC, they are allowed to compete in GP2, and da Costa does qualify for that. He is 26 years old and is allowed to take part in this test. That took longer than expected. Over at Macamo, you're going to be seeing Nyck de Vries and Louis Delétraz. Lopez Racing Development, they'll have Joel Eriksson and Mick Schumacher. Red Bull Academy, Lando, Norris and Giuliano, Alesi. Red Rose Racing, formerly known as RSPCA Racing, you're going to be seeing Dan Ticktum and Jack Aitken. And finally, the new team, Dorado Junior, promoted from GP3, replacing the outgoing Holy Trinity Racing. You're going to be seeing Ferdinand, Habsburg and Robert Wickens. So 10 teams, 20 cars in this test. It should be very interesting indeed. So without further ado then guys, let's get to our end of season test for IFMC GP2 this season. So here we are then in the pit lane. The two Willows Grand Prix just being spectators for this test. We're going to go to the end of the pit lane with a former Willows employee, that being Jack Aitken in the Vortex, sorry, not the Vortex car, the Red Rose Racing car as it's known. They're still running the same livery as RSPCA Racing, but they've got rid of the RSPCA stickers and put Red Rose Racing stickers on the car instead. You'll see that in full view in a little bit. So it's an hour session, TV graphics in full view, and we wait for the first set of cars to get out onto the track in this end of season test here at the Yas Marina Circuit. And we've got one in the form of an EMR. The EMR came out yesterday, and it's in the case of Alexander Albon, who yesterday took part in the end of season test for the top class for East Midlands Racing, and now he's taking part in this GP2 end of season test as he goes up the hill onto the track. So out on the track then goes Nyck de Vries for East Midlands Racing. So out on the track he goes as he makes his way around the right-hander and then down towards the chicane on the track. So into the bus stop there then goes Alexander Albon, and he's looking to put an impression as an East Midlands Racing driver for GP2 next season. So Albon just going around the left-hander. We also have Joel Eriksson out on track as well for Lopez Racing Development. Also on the track we have Artem Markelov, who took part for one race for Academy when Mick Schumacher had a weekend ban. Robert Wickens and Ferdinand Habsburg join on the track. This is the Eldorado test livery, and quite a familiar livery for any of you who have watched IFMC over the last few seasons. Of course, it is a pretty much a testing livery for them, but it is in the colours of the Romanian flag. They usually use this livery for either testing or whenever it's Romania's special day. I can't remember what the day is specifically Romania have, but there it is then. So on the left-hand side they have blue, in the middle it's yellow, and on the right is red. That is the colours of the Romanian flag. As mentioned, Robert Wickens and Ferdinand Habsburg out on the track. Habsburg, of course, the Season 4 IFMC GP3 champion, and will be moving to GP2 next season with this team. That is an Dorado test driver. Delétraz is out on the track for Macamo, and be very interested to see how he does. First time we've seen him in an IFMC car at all throughout the entirety of IFMC, so good to see Delétraz in the series. Mick Schumacher back after being booted by Academy, but he's back for GP2 next season. Good to see him back in the Lopez Racing Development car this season. Jack Aitken out on track for Red Rose Racing. There you go. No RSPCA Racing stickers, just RSPCA. Sorry, Red Rose Racing stickers on instead on the side pods. Nicholas Latifi out on track, as is Dan Ticktum. We also have Lando, Norris, Mitch Evans, and Lance Stroll out on the track, as Alexander Albon has just started the lap as he just comes out of turn 1 and into turns 2 and 3 he will go, as he just flicks the car around this long swooping right hander as he heads down the hill towards the bus stop chicane. And Albon will be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody's beer. 16.396 Albon does in the first sector there, as they'll soon come down the long straight on the track, as Albon just comes out of that turn heading down the long straight before approaching the left-right chicane on the track. Heading down the straight we go. Albon currently of course with East Midlands Racing. It's unknown whether he'll also be a test driver for East Midlands Racing as well. We know that Latifi is already a test driver from this season. Of course, whether he'll still be an EMR test driver for next season remains to be seen. They won't be having Rio Haryanto next season though. EMR won't as a test driver. He's moving to AMP Racing next season, where Haryanto will get a chance to race next season in their GP3 team, AYP Racing. So Rio finally getting a role in racing, even if it is in GP3. So it's kind of an unlucky area for anybody who's a past GP2 champion. Just ask Alexander Rossi on that instance. 1 minute, 0.629 that Albon is set there in the second sector as he flicks the car around the section of 90-degree corners. And then through the triple right-hander he will go before approaching the hotel section. And luckily for me, the laptop is not overheating as much as it was yesterday, which has meant we had them encoding problems yesterday. But thankfully we don't have that, of course, because today here in the UK it's a lot cooler than what it was yesterday. It was boiling hot yesterday, which is why my laptop was basically on fire yesterday, which is why you had them encoding problems. My CPU was just not performing right, but it is cooler today, so no such issues for my computer at all. So Albon now then coming down the pit straight as he now crosses the line to do a 1 minute 43.761, and that's the benchmark time for everybody to beat. Here comes Joel Eriksson as he heads down the pit straight, and he goes fastest by 200 seconds, so Eriksson goes a tad bit faster than him as Markilov slots to third there. Here comes Robert Wickens, he goes fourth with that lap. Ferdinand Habsburg crosses the line, goes P5 for the moment. As here comes Delétraz in the Macamo car, and he places to 5th place for the moment. Mick Schumacher goes to 3rd in the Lopez Racing Development car. Good time for the young teenage German. Jack Aitken goes fastest by 900 of a second, so Aitken goes to the top of the timing sheets in the Red Rose Racing car. Here comes Nicholas Latifi now then, heading into the final corners. EMR coincidentally having the same lineup as what Dams have this year in the real F2 Championship, as Nicholas Latifi crosses the line to go 8th fastest for the moment, P8 for the Canadian. Here comes Dan Ticktum, across the line he will go, and it's P3 for the Brit, so a good time there then for Dan Ticktum. Here comes Lando Norris in the Red Bull Academy car. It's his new team for next season, moving from Lightbase, and he goes 2nd fastest for the moment, 700ths of fellow compatriot Jack Aitken in this session. Here comes Mitch Evans in the Vortex car. Across the line he goes to go 7th fastest, P7 for Evans. Lance Stroll goes 7th with his new team, Lightbase Sony Racing, replacing Lando Norris, who has, as mentioned, gone to Red Bull Academy. Looking for anybody else to do in a second lap, that will be Artem Markilov. The two guys in front of him, Eriksson and, of course, Albon are coming back into the pits this lap. Markilov 2 tenths down in the second sector. Don't know if it'll be enough for an improvement. We'll have to wait and see how he hooks up the last sector. Markilov currently 9th at the moment, as 13 cars came out on the track this time by. So at the moment then, it's Aitken fastest, Norris 2nd, Eriksson 3rd, Ticktum 4th, Albon 5th, Schumacher 6th, Stroll 7th, Evans in 8th, Markilov 9th, Wickens 10th, Delétraz 11th, Latifi 12th, and Habsburg in 13th position. So that's how it looks at this stage. A lot of people look like they may have got caught up in traffic as well, so that could have been a factor for why Habsburg could be 7 times down. Remember, he is the defending champion from GP3 as Artem Markelov goes for a spin at the second to last turn. Clearly, Markelov pushing a tad bit too hard on his lap there. Then Markelov going for a spin. And, of course, he will be an academy driver next season alongside Sergio Settikamaru, who's been retained by the team in GP2. As Markelov has gone for a spin. And that has wrecked his second lap. He will complete it, of course, for mileage reasons. But Markelov now then, his lap has been wrecked as he just goes around the final corner now then. And the time as a result of that spin, nobody improved who went past him, is a 2-minute 8.986. So that spin definitely costing him a lot there. And Lance Stroll on another lap in the Lightbase Sony Racing car. Now, he really did well towards the end of Season 4, despite a few bad looks that he had, especially in Abu Dhabi when we were last here, a fortnight ago. Let's not forget, of course, he and Norris, who's now gone to Red Bull Academy, and the man he's replaced, coincidentally, has what's the word I'm looking for? They made contact coming out of the hairpin, but that was that really. But he still showed signs of good pace, so that's why Lightbase Sony Racing hired him for this season. He didn't improve on that lap. He remains in 7th place for the moment. And we wait for another set of cars to come out on the track in a little bit. As everybody who did a second lap will be coming back into the pits this time by as Stroll makes his way around the bus stop chicane and then approaching the hairpin. He will go on the track now then as Stroll goes down the straight towards the left-right chicane on the track. He'll soon go. And Stroll now then currently... where's Stroll? Currently in 7th place, just 33 thousandths behind Mick Schumacher at this stage, so not that far off him at the moment. We've got a couple of more cars out on track. Nyck de Vries out on track for his new team Macamo. He's moving from GOM Junior to Macamo next season. Antonio Felix da Costa out on track now that he is now legal to compete in GP2, thanks to the new rule saying that if you don't complete a full season of IFMC, you are allowed to come back in, providing that you've done 0 to 1.9 years F1 experience in real life, and of course that you're between the ages of 16 to 30. So that's that really. Schumacher, of course, is an exception, of course, because there's a rule there saying that he is allowed a second chance because of his age, even though he has done a full season in IFMC. He has been given a second chance, as voted by you lot, and now we've got a rule saying that if anybody under the age of 20 does a full season of IFMC and did not do particularly well and wants to be given a second chance, basically, if anybody's under the age of 20 and wants to be given a second chance after doing a season of IFMC, they can come back to GP2 if they so want to. So that's a new rule we've got in place now then, and that's why da Costa is legal to compete in GOM. GOM could use this as an examination to see if da Costa, their test driver from Season 4, could be a fit for them in GP2 next season. Of course, he has had feeder series experience, of course, in IFMC GP3, where he did briefly look to be a championship contender in that in the first ever season when he was part of Dorado Junior when they were previously known as Legion Racing. But he just, bad luck, just prevented him from winning the time. I think he even got the most wins that season as well. So, if it had not been for the bad luck, da Costa could have been the first ever champion in IFMC GP3. Who knows, really? But da Costa now then coming down towards turn 1 on the track, as we've already had around 10 minutes gone in this session. Da Costa starts the lap. We were talking about who else was on the track. We have Lucas Jura out there as well. Giuliano Alesi out on track. Alesi making his GP2 debut. He's now a Martini test driver. Martini loaning 2 of their drivers out to Red Bull Academy for next season. So we're very interested to see how Norris and Alesi do next season. As Alesi's 5 thousandths down off Aitken in the first sector there. So Aitken, as Alesi was doing well. He's just done a bit of a lock-up into the bus stop chicane. So Alesi possibly pushing a tad bit too hard on his first flying lap there. Then Lucas Shaw, as mentioned, on the track as well. We also have Nikita Mazepin, another driver that GOM could look at as well as a potential driver for next season. There was rumours suggesting he could have been at Red Bull Academy for this season as well, but in the end, Red Bull Academy went for 2 Martini drivers for their team, and Mazepin did not end up with a Red Bull Academy drive. So that was that really, but could end up being with one of the 2 teams that's still yet to announce their drivers for next season. It all depends really. Dan Ticktum out on the track, as we also have Antonio Fuoco, Robert Wickens, Sergio Settikamaru, Jack Aitken, Mick Schumacher, Lando, Norris, Nyck de Vries, and Mitch Evans are all out on the track at this stage. Da Costa now then round the triple right-hander he will go. No mistakes so far from Da Costa as he now approaches the hotel section of the track. And now down towards the left-hander he will go. Underneath the hotel he goes before approaching the final two turns. De Vries, on the other hand, we missed him, has gone 13th on his first flying lap in a Macamo car now then. Da Costa now then up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the Portuguese driver, and let's see what Da Costa can manage. Then across the line goes Antonio Felix Da Costa, and he goes 13th fastest, just in front of De Vries at the moment. So 13th for Antonio Felix Da Costa. Here comes Giuliano Alesi. His lap got wrecked in the second sector as a result of the lockup. Let's see how much time that lost him. He goes 16th, so he lost a lot of time in the last two sectors there. Could have been on for a very good lap, so maybe some more potential out of Giuliano Alesi, yet the son of one-time F1 winner Jean Alesi, who won his one and only race at the Canadian Grand Prix in 1995, some 23 years ago. Lucas Jura goes 11th with that lap there. Then here comes Nikita Mazepin. What can he do? He goes 8th fastest, so a good time from the young Russian to go into 8th place. Currently doing a good job in GP3 in real life, so Mazepin showing his potential. Dan Ticktum doesn't improve, remains 4th with that lap there then. Antonio Fuoco crosses the line and he goes 15th fastest on his first flying lap back in IFMC GP2. The last time he was in GP2 was in Season 2 with the now defunct Adidas Motorsport team as Wickens starts his lap. Here comes Sergio Sette Câmara. Let's see what the Brazilian can do as he will now cross the line, and he goes 18th fastest with that lap. So not a good first lap from Sergio Sette Câmara as Aitken doesn't improve and remains on a 1 minute 43.650 in this session. Mick Schumacher about to start a lap. Here comes Lando Norris. Could be a favourite for next season now that Russell, Rosenqvist and Gasly are now going to the top class, and of course Sirotkin has not got a drive either, so could be a favourite for next season. Lando Norris could a chance for Red Bull Academy to defend their drivers and teams championships for next season. And as for the completely whitewashed field of Rosenqvist and Russell in Season 4, Norris on a good lap. He crosses the line and he goes fastest by a 10th in front of Aitken. So Norris goes fastest for the moment. De Vries improves to go up into 12th place, so an improvement there for the Dutchman. That's P12 for Nyck De Vries. Here comes Mitch Evans in the Vortex car, just coming out of the final turn as he heads down the pit straight now then, and Evans will now cross the line and he does not improve, so he stays where he is at the moment. Da Costa improves but only up into 15th place at this stage then. Looking for anybody else who's on a lap. That would be Robert Wickens and Sergio Sette Câmara. Wickens 2 tenths down in the second sector. Wickens is currently in 11th place, so it could be an improvement for the young Canadian, but we will wait and see. Wickens doing an outstanding job in IndyCar in real life. He hasn't achieved a victory, but you can definitely tell the raw speed is there in the Canadian since he's made his debut in IndyCar, and he will be competing in IFMC IndyCar as well when that gets underway in 3 weeks' time for pre-season testing. Of course, he'll be joining the new Adrenaline Motorsport team for that upcoming season. There was rumours that he could have been with E-Power to partner alongside Fernando Alonso, but Adrenaline got there before E-Power did, and that's why E-Power will keep hold of Ryan Hunter-Reay alongside Fernando Alonso next for the upcoming season. E-Power desperate to try and get a championship in that as well, maybe challenge as well now that they've got Honda engines. Wickens improves and goes up to 9th, so into the top 10 goes Robert Wickens. Câmara improves but doesn't improve in terms of position, so he remains in 18th place for the moment then in this session. Mick Schumacher currently on a lap. Schumacher's doing a good job up in 6th place at the moment. Clearly Lopez Racing Development very impressed so far with his talent that he's currently showing in this session now then. Schumacher round the final turn and onto the pit straight goes the German now then, as he will now cross the line. Let's see what Schumacher can manage, and he goes up to 2nd. A really good time for Mick Schumacher. That's P2 for the young teenage German, the son of 7-time Formula 1 world champion Michael Schumacher. So 2 sons really of former F1 drivers on the grid for GP2 next season. Very exciting stuff in the form of Mick Schumacher and Giuliano Alesi. So should be very interesting. These guys now then coming back into the pits. Latifi comes out on the track for Yas Racing, looking to improve upon his 16th place at the moment. EMR desperate to try and challenge for next season, as they will, after what has been considered not probably one of their worst seasons in IFMC GP2. The team clearly not having the pace, it seemed. Well, the 2 drivers that they had, Sergei Sirotkin and Luca Giotto, clearly were not up to the task of trying to deliver a championship for East Midlands Racing in GP2, and that's why the team ended up finishing third in the team's championship, with Sirotkin fourth and Giotto, I think, 8th or 9th in the Drivers' Championship. So it wasn't a really good year for EMR, but they're desperate for next season to try and reclaim those championships that they lost to Red Bull Academy this season. As Latifi's out on track, one of the Eldorados is out, that is Ferdinand Habsburg. He's now out on the track as he looks to improve. The Season 4 IFMC GP3 champion, looking to make an impression in GP2 next season, as he makes his way around the left and right chicane on the track now then, as he uses a tad bit of curb on the outside. Joel Eriksson out on track for Lopez Racing Development. Alexander Albon out there as well, as is Louis Delétraz. Delétraz out on the track, as is Artem Markilov. Giuliano Alesi coming out to try and get out of that 20th place. Antonio Felix da Costa coming out on the track, as is Nyck de Vries. Antonio Fuoco and Macamo is just going back into the pits, and as will Schumacher. So 2 more cars should spawn in the pit lane a little bit later on, as Latifi now then makes his way into the 90-degree right-hander, and then into the left he goes. So Latifi now then going around the section of corners before approaching the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then, and Latifi just flicking the car in through the second to last turn, and Latifi now then about to start his next flying lap. In total then, we've got 3 Canadians on the grid so far in IFMC GP2 next season, in the form of Nicholas Latifi, Lance Stroll, and of course Robert Wickens. So it's going to be very interesting to see what these 3 Canadians can do. A lot of Canadian interest in GP2 for next season, and the Canadians hoping to rule on those drivers, even though they won't be going to Montreal next season GP2, whereas the top class are. It will be very interesting to see what these 3 Canadian drivers can do next season, as Latifi does a similar error to what Giuliano Alesi did a little earlier, pushing a bit too hard and locking up at that bus stop chicane. So Latifi just pushing a tad bit hard to improve upon that 16th place. And he hasn't obviously been in a GP2 car for a while. The last time he was in a GP2 car was back in Season 2. Back last season, in fact, in Season 3, when he was replacing Lance Stroll for the remainder of the season at Academy. And he managed to get a victory as well in that. And Latifi looking to try and transfer that on to East Midlands Racing for the upcoming season of IFMC GP2 if he can. Habsburg's also out there as well, the young Austrian, doing a lap, and let's see how much time Latifi lost as a result of that lockup. Over a second he lost there, so a lot of time Latifi lost thanks to that mistake at the bus stop chicane, and that could have cost him dear to try and get his EMR into the top 10 there. So not a good lap there then from Nicholas Latifi. His teammate Alexander Albon is currently in 6th place at the moment, so Albon doing a decent job in the EMR at this stage, as Latifi now then just goes around the hotel section on the track, and Latifi now then just going around the section of corners before approaching the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then. Around the right he goes, and then up towards the final corner goes Nicholas Latifi, as he will now head down the pit straight now then, and Latifi is about to finish his lap, and he does not improve. Latifi remaining in 16th place for the moment. Ferdinand Habsburg is going to cross the line, and he improves but remains in 19th place. So Habsburg still trying to get to grips with the GP2 car at this stage. Now then, Mazepin about to start a lap. Here is Joel Eriksson. Around the final turn he goes in the Lopez Racing Development car. Let's see what Joel Eriksson can manage, as he'll soon cross the line, and he does not improve. Eriksson remains in 4th place at the moment. Eriksson doing a good job at this stage. Lucas Jura just starting a lap. Alexander Albon improves to go up to 4th, so an improvement there from the Thai driver. Alexander Albon up into 4th place with that lap. Here comes Louis Delétraz now then in the Macamo car. Delétraz currently 14th. Let's see what Louis can manage then, as he'll soon approach the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes the young Swiss driver Louis Delétraz. Is this going to be an improvement for Delétraz? And it is. He goes up to 8th for that lap. A big improvement from Louis Delétraz. P8 for the young Swiss driver. Markilov remains in 12th, no improvement. Giuliano Alesi looked like he might have been a bit held up and remains 20th for the moment. So he improves on his best time, but still remains in 20th. Sergio Sette starting a lap. Here comes Antonio Felix da Costa, and let's see if he's on an improvement. He is. He goes up to 3rd with that lap. A really good time for da Costa. Up to 3rd place he goes. De Vries goes up to 8th, an improvement for the young Dutchman. So Nyck de Vries going up to P8 and outpacing teammate Louis Delétraz at this stage. Antonio Fuoco now then, just going around the section of corners. And let's see what Fuoco can manage then, as he just comes up towards the final 2 turns on the track. Fuoco currently 17th. Let's see if the Ferrari young driver can do well. And up towards the final corner then goes Antonio Fuoco as he makes his way down the pit straight. Fuoco now then is about to power across the line. The young Italian, where's he going to go? And he goes up to 8th. So Fuoco into the top 10. An improvement there from the Italians. Up to P8 goes Antonio Fuoco there then. Nikita Mazepin now then on the lap in the GRM Junior. Mazepin currently in 12th place. Let's see where he will go on this lap as he goes around the final 2 turns. Up towards the final corner then goes Mazepin, as he will go down the pit straight now. Then Nikita Mazepin is going to cross the line, and let's see what the young Russian can manage, and he doesn't improve. Mazepin remains in 12th place for the moment. Eriksson remains 6th. What about the guy that was coming down the pit straight there? Lucas Jora goes up to 16th, so a slight improvement for the young Austrian, as Markelov is on a lap himself. Markelov looking to improve upon his 12th place at this stage, despite the fact he is outpacing Seti Kamara. It's not where he really wants to be at the moment. He wants to try and get the car into the top 10 if he can, of course. And Markelov now then, through the final 2 turns, he will go on the track, and Markelov round the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and the young Russian is going to cross the line, and the Renault young driver remains in 12th for the moment, so not an improvement there then for Artem Markelov at the moment. As Kamara remains 18th, Alesi remains in last for this stage of testing, as we look to see if anybody else is on a lap. It doesn't appear like it is. Aitken now then comes out on the track for Red Rose Racing, and so as Aitken comes out of the pit lane now then, as it just goes underneath the track to get onto the other side. He's currently 4th at the moment, so Aitken doing a good job in his first GP2 official test, moving from, of course, GP3, where he finished, well, the team where he was racing with, Willows Racing, finished 3rd in the team's championship, and they will occupy number 1 and 2 next season as a result of Dorado Junior being promoted to GP2 and Auto Jamaica pulling out of the series. So Willows Racing will occupy number 1 and 2 for next season, when they have Alexander Rossi and Brendan Hartley in their team for next season. 2 former GP2 drivers. Hartley again, another one to fall foul of GP2 drivers, going to GP3. And Rosenquist will obviously not do that, of course. He'll be another one out because he's won the GP3 championship, and because he's a champion, he's not eligible to compete in that series ever again. But that's pretty much that then, really. In fact, Kamara's on a lap, but Kamara looks like he's being held up at the moment by Giuliano Alesi. So Seti Kamara not on an improvement at this stage. So let's have a look and see what the leaderboard looks like then, with just under 40 minutes remaining in the session. It's Norris on the top with Schumacher 2nd, De Costa 3rd, Aitken 4th, Albon 5th, Eriksson 6th, Ticktum 7th, Fuoco 8th, De Vries 9th, Stroll 10th, Delétraz 11th, Mazepin 12th, Wickens 13th, Evans 14th, Markelov 15th, Joel 16th, Latifi 17th, Seti Kamara 18th, Habsburg 19th, and Alesi in 20th position. So that's how that looks at this stage. Kamara about to finish a lap, I should say. It looks like he's been compromised as a result of Alesi holding him up. The final turn and onto the pit straight goes Sergio Seti Kamara, as he's now going to cross the line, and he remains in 18th place for the moment there then. Aitken about to start a lap. His teammate has also come out on the track, Dan Ticktum. Ticktum will be retained by Red Rose Racing for next season, so Ticktum will be staying in GP2 for the following season, and so far proving why he should be there, because so far he's doing a good job in this test. Currently 7th fastest, and just 3 places behind new teammate Jack Aitken. As Aitken, speaking of which, rounds turn 3 on the track. Let's see what his first sector is like, and he's 14 thousandths down off his fellow compatriot in the first sector there then, and no mistake there then from Aitken, as he just goes around the hairpin before going down the long straight on the track. Heading down the straight he goes, as Aitken will approach the left-right chicane on the track. A few cars are in front of him at this stage. We're right on board with the British Korean of Jack Aitken, and it's quite coincidental that he's driving something that's got a big Renault badge on him, because in real life he's a Renault young driver as well. So and I think he's taking part in the Hungary mid-season test once the weekend is over for Renault for one of the days, and I think the other day it'll be Artem Markelov. So I think they're both doing jobs there as well. Aitken ups the pace a little bit more. He's 700ths up on Norris in the second sector there then. So Aitken starting to show a little bit more pace in the car as he now makes his way round the left-hander now, then using a tad bit of curb on the outside before going around the triple right-hander now. Then let's see what Aitken can do then on this lap. Round the right and then into the left he goes, going underneath the hotel section. And now through the final few turns then goes Jack Aitken in the Red Rose Racing car. Let's see what Aitken can do. Can he beat Norris off the top and get back to the top like he did at the beginning of the session now then? Aitken round the final corner then and onto the pit straight he goes, and the British Korean is going to cross the line. Is this going to be an improvement? And no, it's not. He lost time in the last sector and remains in 4th place. A lot of time, it must be said, for Jack Aitken as Albon is about to start a lap himself, as will Habsburg. Here's Dan Ticktum now then, who makes his way round the right-hander. Ticktum currently 7th at this stage now then. And let's see what he can do on this lap as he will approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then, with just under 36 minutes of the session remaining. Ticktum round the final turn. Can he improve on his 7th place? Can he get up to where teammate Aitken is? Ticktum across the line goes the young Brit, and no he doesn't. He remains 7th with that lap. Red Rose Racing having an all-British lineup for the upcoming season. Here's Lando Norris. Can he improve on his 1 minute 43.538 now then? He rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight goes Lando Norris as he will now cross the line. Is this an improvement for Norris? And no, it's not. Only just not able to improve by nearly a tenth of a second. Remains on 1 minute 43.538 at this stage. Now then, Evans goes up to 11th. An improvement there then for Mitch Evans. Stroll remains in 10th place in the custom top 10. Markelov starting another lap. Here's Robert Wickens in the Dorado Junior. And Wickens now then is going to cross the line, and the young Canadian does not improve, remains in 14th place for the moment. Latifi starting a lap behind him, his fellow compatriot I should say. Mick Schumacher currently 2nd at the moment, doing a good job in this session, as his teammate Joel Eriksson. Eriksson being retained by Lopez Racing Development for next season, so Eriksson clearly doing enough to earn him a 2nd season with Lopez Racing Development. As Schumacher now then goes up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight. He will go, and Schumacher now then, can he improve on his lap? And no he can't, remains 700ths behind Norris at the moment in this session. Here's Alexander Albon, currently 5th. Can he find some improvement in the car now then, as the Thai driver heads down the pit straight, and Alexander Albon is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve, remains 5th for the moment in this session. As here is Ferdinand Habsburg in the Eldorado, down in 19th, but can he find some improvement? The Season 4 IFMC GP3 champion rounds the final turn now then. Is Habsburg going to find some improvement in the car? The young Austrian is about to power across the line, and he does. He goes up to 10th with that lap, so a big improvement for Habsburg. He gets his Eldorado into the top 10, so up to P10 goes Ferdinand Habsburg at this stage now. And here comes Louis Delétraz in the Macamo out of the final turn and onto the pit straight. He will go now then as Delétraz crosses the line, and he remains where he is at the moment, which is 13th place at this stage, and currently being outpaced by teammate Nyck de Vries. Mitch Evans out of the final turn, onto the pit straight he will go, and the Kiwi will cross the line to remain in 12th for the moment. Artem Markelov on a lap. Can he improve upon his dismal 16th place? And he can, but only up to 15th, so he's only really gaining a place from that lap. Nicholas Latifi down in 18th. I don't know if his fellow compatriot Robert Wickens held him up that time by, but Latifi's going to cross the line, and yeah, he remains 18th. It looked like Wickens had him up a tad bit more, but the whole pack separated by 7/10 of a second, so very close between all 20 drivers, it must be said, in this session, as Eriksson's about to start to lap himself, as his teammate behind him is about to come back into the pits. Then Giuliano Alesi back out on the track, as Latifi is on another lap. In fact, his first sector, 1/10 down off Norris in the first sector, as he rounds the bust up chicane, as he will soon approach the hairpin. Round the left hander then goes Latifi, as he now heads down the long straight, and Latifi hoping to try and do a good lap if he can, as we ride on board with the young Canadian now then. as he will approach the left-right chicane on the track. And Latifi now then approaches the left-right chicane through the left, and then the right he will soon go. And Latifi using a tad bit of curb on the outside as he will go down the support pit straight before approaching the left-right late chicane on the track. As the guy in front of Latifi is Alesi, who's about to start his next flying lap. 3 attempts down Latifi is in the second sector. I don't know if he's on for an improvement. You usually lose quite a bit of time in the last sector. Let's see if that's going to be the case for Latifi on this lap. And remember, the lap times do quicker as the session progresses due to the rubber the rubber starting to rub in onto the track, meaning that there's a lot more grip out there and a lot more faster lap times coming out from the drivers, and the track's starting to rubber in, I should say. As Latifi now then up towards the final 2 turns on the track, and let's see what the young Canadian can manage then. Into the final turn and onto the pit straight, and across the line goes Nicholas Latifi. Is this going to be an improvement then for the young Canadian? And it isn't. He remains 18th for the moment in this session. Joel Eriksson into the final 2 turns he goes, and he's pushing hard, the young Swede now then. Around the final corner, onto the pit straight he goes, and Eriksson now then is about to power across the line, and he remains where he is at the moment, which is 6th place. Eriksson doing a good job in this session. Fuoco, Da Costa, De Vries and Euro on laps. Here's Alesi, 400s down in the first sector. We'll see what his second sector is like in a little bit, but Alesi now on another flying lap as we ride on board with the young Frenchman, the son of Jean Alesi, the one-time winner for Ferrari, and Ferrari legend, I might add as well. Despite only taking 1 race victory, he was very talented. It must be said, it was unlucky he didn't get more in his career, Jean Alesi. One notable moment was when he had that titanic battle with Ayrton Senna at the 1990 US Grand Prix at Detroit. I think it was Detroit, it was. And it was such a great battle to watch. If you haven't seen it, I think Formula 1 uploaded it on YouTube 3 years ago when they asked fans to vote for their favourite United States Grand Prix, or was that a different race? No, I think that was when Alesi, in fact, I think it was that race, in fact. I think it will show how talented Alesi was back in the day. It was just a shame that he wasn't able to use that full potential that he had with him. Well, that was that really, and that's why he only got 1 Grand Prix victory. He had came close in the past to getting a few more, especially 1996 in Monza, but he damaged his suspension. 1995 Monza, again, suspension. Kind of a weird one how he damaged the suspension there. But anyway, focusing on his son, Giuliano Alesi is coming up towards the final turn. And Giuliano now then, let's see what Alesi can do. Across the line he goes, and he goes up to 18th. So a slight improvement there then for Giuliano Alesi, and then that pushes Seti Kamara to last place as Mazepin starts a lap, as does Sergio Seti Kamara, desperate to get out of last place, hoping that Mazepin in front doesn't hold him up. As we now look at Antonio Fuoco in the Lightbase Sony Racing car, just under half an hour of this end of season test remaining for IFMC GP2, and we'll go through the leaderboard in a little bit once these group of cars finish their flying laps. As Fuoco now then into the final turn, and onto the pit straight goes the young Italian, the Ferrari young driver now then. He's going to cross the line. Is Fuoco on an improvement? And yes, he is. He goes up to 5th with that lap. A big improvement for Fuoco. That's P5 for the Italian. He even outpaces his new teammate Lance Stroll, who's now outside the top 10 behind GP3 champion Ferdinand Habsburg. Here is Antonio Felix da Costa in the GRM as he rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight. And let's see what da Costa can do, as he will now cross the line, and he remains in 3rd place for the moment in this session. Here comes Nyck de Vries in the Macamo car, and he goes up to 9th. Well, he remains in 9th, but improves his best time. He's now just within 5 thousandths behind Dan Ticktum at this stage. Lucas Jura now then going under the hotel, and so now he will approach the final 2 turns on the track. Let's see what Lucas Jura can manage, as the young Austrian, who I think had a nasty crash in DTM, I think this past month or last month at the Euro Speedway. I think it was him or it was somebody else. It was an Audi driver. I know Jura drives an Audi in DTM, but either way, Jura beats his fellow compatriot Ferdinand Habsburg to get up into the top 10. So Jura up into 10th place with that lap there then. Nikita Mazepin now then into the final 2 turns on the track. Let's see what the young Russian can manage. So Mazepin, the young Force India driver in real life, just goes down the pit straight, and he's now going to cross the line. And Mazepin remains where he is at the moment, which is, well, I don't know where it is. In fact, I'll have a look in a little bit. Seti Camara improves, but only up to 17th place. That pushes Latifi down into last place. Mazepin remained in 15th. The whole pack now only separated by 5/10 of a second. Very close indeed in this session. Jack Aitken now then is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve. Remains 4th with that lap. What about his teammate Dan Ticktum down in 8th? Is this an improvement for him? Nope, he remains 8th for the moment. Here is Lance Stroll, the young Canadian now then approaches the final 2 turns on the track. And let's see where Lance Stroll can go now then as he goes around the final turn and onto the pit straight. Lance Stroll will now come across the line, and let's see where he can go. He doesn't improve, and Stroll remains in 12th place for the moment. Lando Norris does not improve, and Norris remaining stays on 1 minute 43.538. He's still at the top like he has done throughout the majority of this session. So here's Nikita Mazepin now then, who goes down the long straight as he will soon approach the chicane, and he's 3/10 down in the second sector. Mazepin now then just going around the left chicane on the track, and Mazepin now then just flicking the car in through the turn using the little bit of curb on the outside there then as he goes around the triple right-hander on the track, as he will soon approach the next 90-degree right-hander. And now through the left goes Mazepin, and now in towards the final 2 turns on the track now then, as Mazepin will come up towards the final corner, and let's see where the young Russian can go as he goes down the pit straight. And Mazepin now then will now come across the line, and let's see, he does not improve and he remains in 15th place for the moment, as Sergio Seti Camara does not improve and remains in 17th place at this stage now then. Lando Norris coming out is currently on another lap. Let's see if he could try and improve on his 1 minute 43.538 on this lap now then. Round the right-hander he goes, and then into the left. And the former Lightbase Sony Racing driver, speaking of which, he's coming up behind one himself, and he'll be able to do a good job at Red Bull Academy next season, Lando Norris. But he now comes through the final 2 turns, and let's see where Lando Norris can go with this lap now then. Heading down the pit straight goes Lando Norris, and the young Brit is going to cross the line, and he remains in first place. Well, obviously he's still in first, but he still remains on 1 minute 43.538 in this session. Mick Schumacher on our lap in the Lopez Racing Development car, and let's see if he could try and overhaul the gap between himself and Norris, or even try and beat him. Schumacher then round the final 2 turns, and let's see where the young teenage German can go now then as he heads down the pit straight. And Schumacher now then will cross the line, and he does not improve, remains in 2nd place for the moment in this session. Robert Wickens, who's down in 18th, looking to have an improvement on this lap now then, as Wickens comes up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes the 29-year-old Canadian. Wickens crosses the line, and he goes up to 7th. A really big improvement for Wickens. That's P7 for Robert Wickens on that lap as a few more cars go out on the track. Latifi's just gone out. We'll try and find somebody else who may be on a lap. And Wickens, is he on another lap? Yes, Wickens is on another lap, so we'll keep an eye on him in this instance as a few more cars come out onto the track. Wickens 900s down in the first sector, and he gets the bust-up chicane executed perfectly there. So let's have a look at the leaderboard then, with just over 24 minutes of this end-of-season test remaining. It's Norris fastest, with Schumacher 2nd, De Costa 3rd, Aitken 4th, Fuoco 5th, Albon 6th, Wickens 7th, Eriksson 8th, Ticktum 9th, De Vries 10th, Euro 11th, Habsburg 12th, Stroll 13th, Evans 14th, with Delétraz 15th, Mazepin 16th, Markilov 17th, Seti Camara 18th, Alesi 19th, and Latifi in 20th position. So that's how that looks. And of course, Palmer and Elot would be there, but of course Wales Grand Prix have their end of season test ban, so Palmer and Elot cannot compete in this session for the team, as Wickens now then goes down the long straight before approaching the next chicane. And let's see what his second sector is like now then, and he's 2/10 off Norris in the second sector. Wickens not on an improvement as he's overall 1/10 behind Norris, so Wickens not on improvement, probably just doing a little bit of a mileage run for Dorado Junior. Mileage is pretty much a lot that Dorado needs right now as they enter their first season in GP2, the junior team that is, of course, and they need to learn a lot about GP2 before making their their debuts next season in the GP2 series after spending 3 seasons in GP3. So Wickens now then, let's see if he can magically find some time in the last sector. I doubt it, but we'll wait and see now then, as Wickens now then goes up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes the young Canadian, as he will now cross the line, and he doesn't improve, remains 7th and lost a little bit more time in the last sector as well there then. Eriksson and I think that was Markilov, in fact, I think as well, that are just about to start a lap. Here is Nicholas Latifi in the EMR. His teammate Alexander Albon is currently behind him at the moment. Latifi now then up towards the final corner, and let's see where the young Canadian will go as he goes down the pit straight. And Latifi now then, he's going to cross the line, and he goes up to 19th with that lap. So he does improve, but he's still near the bottom of the field at the moment. But the whole pack is now separated by 0.4 of a second. The gap getting smaller between the whole pack. Very close indeed in this session. As here comes Louis Delétraz. Into the final turn he goes, and onto the pit straight. Stroll and Evans have set the same time as each other. They're both 0.289 behind Norris. Delétraz doesn't improve, remains 15th for the moment behind those two guys who are tied on the same lap time. Here comes Ferdinand Habsburg. Habsburg currently 12th. Let's see if the GP3 champion can find some improvement in the car. Habsburg will approach the final corner, and onto the pit straight then goes Ferdinand Habsburg. And the young Austrian now then is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve, remains 12th with that lap. Da Costa about to start a lap in a little bit himself, and Markilov on a lap, and luckily for him, the young Russian is not being held up on this lap at all as they now approach the hotel section. Markilov flicking the car in, and then into the left he goes as he approaches the final few turns on the racetrack now. Then Markilov just coming off the turn as he will now approach the final 2 turns. We ride on board with Artem Markilov, returning to racing for the upcoming season after spending a season as a test driver for Etihad Racing and even doing the odd race for Academy when Mick Schumacher is weekend banned for Silverstone. Markilov across the line, and he does not improve. Markilov remaining in 17th place. Both academies not doing a good job in this test so far, but it is only testing. Not really much pushing going on in this session. Some teams will, some teams won't. And just to let you know, of course, this might not truly reflect the order for next season. Of course, they've only got the Season 4 stats, not the Season 5 stats. Season 5, they'll have new stats. Of course, Latifi remains in 19th, all about teammate Albon. He remains in 6th with that lap, unable to beat Fuoco. That time by Euro starts a lap. De Vries, is he on an improvement? The young Dutchman crosses the line, and De Vries remains in 10th place for the moment. Now then, here comes Louis Delétraz as he just goes around the final corner. And as you can see, a little bit of a weird one there for Palmer. His wheels are spinning. That's probably because he's a player car, of course. That's why I'm preventing. That's how I'm preventing Palmer and Elot from taking to the track, because I'm in control of them. A little bit of a fact if you want to give out, if you're doing a manager league or an offline league yourself and you want to incorporate bans for tests, that's how you do it. Or even qualifying sessions, that's how you do it, really. So Da Costa now then, up towards the final 2 turns he will go, and let's see what the Portuguese driver can do with just over 20 minutes to go on the clock. Da Costa now then round the final turn and onto the pit straight he goes. Da Costa did a good job in the top class end of season test yesterday for GOM. Let's see what he can do in this GP2 test, and he does not improve, remains in 3rd place, still a 10th behind current fastest man Lando Norris. Just 20 minutes now remaining in this end of season test, 20 minutes exactly left as Fuoco on a lap. Markilov, I don't know if he's on another lap behind him, but we'll wait and see. Markilov now then, up towards the final corner goes the young Italian. And let's see what he can do as he goes down the pit straight and across the line goes Antonio Fuoco, and he remains in 5th place for the moment. Fuoco doing a good job on his return to GP2. Eriksson does not improve, and Eriksson remains in 8th place for the moment in this session. Lucas Jura on a lap as he now rounds the section of corners. So we're 10 minutes away from the 7 o'clock mark. Just to let you guys know, as Jura now then round the final 2 turns he goes, and Jura now then going down the pit straight. Let's see what the young Austrian can do as Jura crosses the line, and he does not improve. Jura remains in 11th place with that lap. As we look at Nikita Mazepin, Sergio Sette Câmara, who's in front of him at the moment, is about to start a lap. Let's see what Mazepin can do. As Nikita Mazepin rounds the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And the young Russian is about to power across the line, and he remains where he is at the moment, which is 16th place. So that's that for him. As Antonio Fuoco now then heads down the long straight, as he will soon approach the left-right-left chicane on the track, and he's 3 tenths down in the second sector. So that's that for Fuoco. Through the left, then the right, and then into the left he goes. And Fuoco now then around this 90-degree left-hander he goes, as he will soon approach the triple right-hander. And let's see what Fuoco can do then on this lap. Round the right and then into the left-hander he will go on the track. And just missing the curb on the outside for Fuoco on his second flying lap on this set, of course. Coming around the final 2 turns, let's see what Fuoco can do. As he comes around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the young Italian. No longer an AMP Racing employee, but Fuoco crosses the line and he remains in 5th place for the moment. Fuoco and Ferrucci have been recently released from AMP Racing, and that's why Rio Haryanto and Ralph Aaron are the new test drivers for AMP next season. And of course as well, just to let you know as well, they've also been dropped from the GP3 team, AYP Racing. That's why Fuoco is in GP2 next season with Lightbase Sony Racing, and Santino Ferrucci is left without a drive. Meantime, Sergio Sette Câmara is on a flyer at the moment. He was 1/10 up on Norris in the second sector. So Sergio Sette Câmara finding some time as the track starts to rubber in. The young Brazilian now then up towards the final 2 turns, and let's see what Sette Câmara can do now then. Round the final turn and onto the pit straight. This is where he took his first ever victory. A fortnight to go in the sprint race. Sette Câmara now then will cross the line. Is this an improvement? And it is, but only up to 12. So he lost a lot of time in the last sector. Shows how close the field is, really. But it seems that a lot of time he's gained in the middle sector, but a lot of time he's lost in the last sector. Whereas close lap times usually come in the first sector. So kind of a trend there in terms of the cars out on track at the moment. We now look at Dan Ticktum, who's the nearest guy doing a lap. Ticktum currently 9th and just 7 thousandths behind Joel Eriksson, who's occupying 8th place at this stage now then. And just under 17 minutes now left in this end of season test for IFMC GP2, and Ticktum is now 10th up in the second sector, but let's not hold our horses. Sette Câmara was a 10th up a little bit earlier on, but let's see if the same effect will happen to Ticktum in the first sector as he will now approach the triple right-hander. There's no doubt he could be on for an improvement, but whether it will be fast is because the drivers tend to lose a lot of time in the last sector. We will wait and see. Ticktum now then round the left-hander he goes as he now approaches these next section of corners. Up towards the final 2 turns then goes Dan Ticktum. And let's see what he can do now then. Round the second to last turn and then up towards the final corner goes Dan Ticktum, as he will now head down the pit straight, and across the line goes Daniel Ticktum. And is this a big improvement? No, he lost a lot of time and remains in 9th place. So kind of a similar trend with Sette Câmara, but he even lost time to the point where he wasn't able to improve. That's the difference between him and Sette Câmara there. Aitken, 11 thousandths off in the second sector. He'll probably lose some time in the last sector, as we've seen with Sette Câmara and Ticktum, but we'll wait and see. And it looked like quite an awkward entrance for Aitken going into that left-right-left chicane just a little bit earlier on there. But Aitken going around the triple right-hander on the track. And let's see what the British Korean can manage then on this lap now then, as he will soon approach the final few turns on the racetrack now then, as Aitken will approach the final 2 turns. Let's see what the British Korean can manage, as he uses a lot of curb on the outside there. Then is this going to be an improvement, or will he lose time? Will Aitken be the odd one out? Aitken crosses the line and he doesn't improve, remains in 4th place, so continues the trend in this session. Lance Stroll across the line, and he goes up to 7th, so an improvement there for Stroll, gets in front of fellow compatriot Robert Wickens, so up into P7 goes Lance Stroll, but he's still being outpaced by new teammate Antonio Fuoco, who's up in 5th place at the moment. Ferdinand Habsburg about to start a lap. Here's Mick Schumacher currently 2nd, 700ths off Norris at the moment in this session, but let's see if he can find some more time on this lap. Schumacher round the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Mick Schumacher now then is going to cross the line, and he improves but remains in 2nd, but he's now only 5 thousandths off Lando Norris that time by, so a really good time there from Mick Schumacher to be in 2nd place for the moment. So Schumacher finding a lot of time, it must be said. Here comes Robert Wickens, and Robert Wickens crosses the line and he remains 8th for the moment, so not an improvement there then for Robert Wickens, as Mitch Evans remains where he is at the moment, which is 15th place. Vortex struggling this past season in IFMC GP2, and they're hoping with whatever lineup they have next season to improve on that and try and become championship contenders like they were in Season 3. Here comes Lando Norris. Can he improve on his current fastest time of 1:43.538 across the line? And no, he can't. He's still 5 thousandths in front of Mick Schumacher at this stage. Nicholas Latifi now in 19th. Can he find some improvement in the car? His teammates up in 6th place. Let's see if Latifi can improve on this lap then, as he comes down the pit straight now then, and Nicholas Latifi is about to power across the line, and he doesn't improve, remains 19th at the moment, still in front of Jean Alesi by a few thousandths of a second. Here's Alexander Albon, the other EMR, as he now goes around the left-hander, as the guy in front of him, which I think is Jack Aitken, is about to come back into the pits, or is about to start a lap, unless it's somebody else. Now it is Aitken, he's just coming back into pit lane. Here comes Albon now then, out of the final turn and onto the pit straight. He will go now then. Alexander Albon crosses the line, and he remains in 6th place for the moment. Delétraz has just started a lap as Ferdinand Habsburg rounds the sequence of corners. And let's see what the Austrian can do as Habsburg approaches the final 2 turns. As the Season 4 IFMC GP3 champion rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight. He will go on the track, and Habsburg is about to power across the line. And let's see, is this an improvement? It isn't. He remains 14th for the moment, still being outpaced by new teammate Robert Wickens at this stage, as Artem Markelov is about to start a lap himself in a little bit. Albon and Delétraz on laps as they're both down this long straight. With just under 13 minutes of the session remaining, here is what the leaderboard now looks like then. It's Norris fastest, Schumacher 2nd, Da Costa 3rd, Aitken 4th, Fuoco 5th, Albon 6th, Stroll 7th, Wickens 8th, Eriksson 9th, Ticktum 10th, Vries 11th, Joa 12th, Kamara 13th, Habsburg 14th, Evans 15th, Delétraz 16th, Mazepin 17th, Markelov 18th, with Latifi 19th and Alesi in 20th. So that's how that looks at this stage. Albon's 2nd sector, he's 1/10 down off of Norris in the 2nd sector. I don't think he's on for an improvement, as he's also 1/10, but 8 thousandths above the gap it was in the 2nd sector between himself and Norris, if that makes any sense whatsoever. As Norris now then rounds the triple right-hander on the track, and let's see what the tie driver can manage as he goes around the section of corners. Just over 12 minutes of the session remaining, as Albon will approach the final 2 corners on the track. Let's see what the tie driver can do, as Albon now then goes up towards the final corner, and the tie driver heads down the pit straight, and across the line then goes Alexander Albon, as he now crosses the line and he does not improve, remains where he is at this stage. As Delétraz doesn't improve, he remains where he is at this stage. Artem Markelov now then will approach the left-right chicane, and so through the left and then the right-hander he will go, as Markelov now then heads down this long straight before approaching the left-right-left chicane on the track. And let's see what Markelov's 2nd sector is looking like, and the young Russian is 1/10 up, nearly 2/10 up in the 2nd sector. Don't hold our breath, we know what's happened with Kamara, his teammate, and of course Dan Ticktum as well. You do lose time in the last sector, but it does look like Markelov is on an improvement, but will he be fastest? Let's wait and see how he hooks up the last sector really. Could he be an exception in this instance. As Markelov now then rounds the triple right-hander. Markelov finally getting his foot down in this session. Shows how tight this field is today in this testing session. As we have just over 10 minutes now remaining in this end of season test. Markelov up towards the final 2 turns. We've now reached the 7 o'clock mark for anybody wondering. And Markelov up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the young Russian. And let's see now then what Artem Markelov can do, as he will now cross the line and he goes up to 3rd. So he doesn't go fastest, but finds a lot of improvement to go up into 3rd place. He's not that far off one of his rivals in F2 in real life, Lando Norris. So Markelov 3rd with that lap. A good time from him there. As a result, Nyck de Vries starts a lap, as does the guy behind him at the moment, Joel Eriksson. Well, Joel Eriksson actually finished the lap. He didn't improve and remains on the cusp of the top 10 at the moment. Here's Louis Delétraz in the Macamo. The Ferrari young driver now then comes up towards the final 2 turns. And Louis Delétraz is about to finish his lap in a little bit. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Louis Delétraz, as he will now cross the line. And he does not improve. Remains where he is at the moment at this stage. As you can see there, Delétraz just going around the first few turns there on the track. Seti Kamara about to start lap. Here's Giuliano Alesi. Let's see if he's finally getting his foot down in his remaining 10 minutes of the session. So Alesi now then will approach the final 2 corners on the racetrack now then. Alesi has not raced at all within the entirety of IFMC, so still trying to get used to the GP2 car. As he goes down the pit straight, Alesi now then is going to cross the line. Is this an improvement? It is, but he remains in 20th. Still last place, but cuts a little bit of time between himself and Nicholas Latifi. At this stage, the 2 guys behind him, well 3 guys I should say, have just started another lap. Fuoco now then rounds the left-hander, as he will now approach the final 2 corners on the racetrack. And let's see what Antonio Fuoco can manage. Into the final corner, onto the pit straight we will now go. And Fuoco will cross the line, and he does not improve. Remains in 6th place for the moment now then, as Nyck de Vries goes around the section of corners, as he will soon approach the final 2 turns. De Vries currently 12th. Let's see if he can find some more improvement in the car now then. And De Vries now then heads down the pit straight, and across the line will go Nyck de Vries. And he crosses the line and he remains in 12th place. For the moment, Joel Eriksson remains where he is at the moment, which is P10 at this stage of testing. Lucas Jura coming up towards the final 2 turns on the track. And let's see what Lucas Jura is able to achieve, as he will head down the pit straight himself. And Lucas Jura now then is going to cross the line, and Lucas Jura remains where he is at the moment, which is P13 at this stage. Here's Sergio Seti Kamara. And let's see if he's on for improvement, just like Markelov did a little bit earlier. His teammate, Seti Kamara now then, round the final turn and onto the pit straight goes the young Brazilian. And Sergio Seti Kamara is going to cross the line. Is this an improvement? And it is. He goes up to 9th with that lap. So both academies now in the top 10 as Seti Kamara goes up into 9th place. So an improvement there then for the young Brazilian, as Aitken is about to start a lap himself in a little bit. Here's Antonio Felix da Costa now then, looking to get back up to 3rd after Markelov, an ex-driver he used to race with in IFMC GP3, took 3rd from him, as da Costa now then crosses the line, and da Costa remains 4th for the moment now then. So that's that for him, as Mazepin doesn't improve and remains 18th for the moment. So he started to drop back a little bit. Ticktum goes up to 3rd with that lap. A good time from the Red Bull young driver. Dan Ticktum goes up into 3rd place. He now outpaces his new teammate and fellow compatriot Jack Aitken at this stage. So Dan Ticktum up into 3rd place. Very close indeed. The top 4, and he's separated by 700ths of a second. So very close indeed. In this session, as now we look at Markelov, fellow Renault young driver Jack Aitken, and with just over 7 minutes remaining on the clock, Aitken now then is coming up towards the left-right chicane on the track, as Aitken now then just goes around the section of corners. So Aitken just comes out of the turn using a lot of curb on the outside as he goes down the support pit straight, as he approaches the left-right-left chicane in a little bit. And let's see what Aitken's second sector is like. Aitken making a return to GP2 as a result of being in GP after the result of being dropped by Lightbase Sony Racing in favour of George Russell for season number 3, I think it was. And but he'll be back for season 5 after spending a season in GP3 with Lopez Racing, where he did very well. In fact, and you just saw there that Aitken was 100th up on Norris in the second sector, but let's not jump the gun. We know that the last sector you usually lose a lot of time. Let's see though if Aitken is on an improvement, just like his teammate was just a little bit ago. Into the final 2 turns then goes Jack Aitken, and let's see what the British Korean can manage now then. Round the final turn and onto the pit straight goes Jack Aitken in the Red Rose Racing car. Aitken crosses the line, and Aitken remains in 6th place for the moment then, as Antonio Felix da Costa does not improve woefully there and remains in 5th in the session. Mazepin remains 18th as Lance Stroll starts a lap, and he's so far in 9th place. Lando Norris back out on the track looking to see if he could find some improvement in the Red Bull Academy. Here's Mitch Evans in the Vortex Racing car, just going out of the chicane, using the curb on the outside, as we have just over 5 minutes of this end of season test remaining. So far, this is what the leaderboard looks like. It's Norris fastest, from Schumacher 2nd, Ticktum 3rd, Markelov 4th, da Costa 5th, Aitken 6th, Fuoco 7th, Albon 8th, Stroll in 9th, followed by Seti Kamara in 10th, Wickens 11th, Eriksson 12th, Vries 13th, Joel 14th, Habsburg 15th, with Evans 16th, Delétraz 17th, Mazepin 18th, Latifi 19th, and Alesi in 20th. The whole pack separated by 0.4 of a second. Very, very close indeed between everybody. As Evans now then into these section of corners, he goes on the track as Evans will approach the final few turns on the racetrack with 5 minutes exactly left on the clock now then. And is Evans on an improvement? Can he find some pace to improve from his 16th place and not get outpaced by teammate Lucas Jura? Round the final turn and onto the pit straight goes Mitch Evans, as he will now cross the line. And the Kiwi, is this an improvement for Mitch Evans? And it isn't. He remains 16th for the moment. Mick Schumacher starting a lap behind him at this stage, as Stroll is 1500s down in the second sector. He'll probably lose a lot of that time in the last sector, but we'll wait and see. As Stroll rounds this triple right-hander before approaching the hotel section. As Stroll rounds through the section of corners, and Stroll now then going around the left-hander, as he will soon approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then. And Lance Stroll up towards the final corner goes the teenage Canadian, and backed by his dad Lawrence Stroll and his billions of dollars. Lance Stroll will cross the line, and he does not improve, remains in 9th place with that lap. And so far, a satisfying day for Lightbase Sony Racing with their new lineup, as Norris is really improving right now. But again, let's not jump to the conclusions. He could lose time in the last sector, let's not forget that. But he is a 10th, 0.151 quicker than his personal best. Norris could be on for an improvement, as he's pushing hard to find a little bit more improvement in his new team now then, as he rounds the left-hander now then. Up towards the final 2 turns then goes Lando Norris, and let's see what the McLaren young driver in real life can do. Norris round the final turn and onto the pit straight goes the young man from Bristol, and Lando Norris crosses the line. Is this an improvement? And it is. He improves by a 10th. He is the exception. Norris now on a 1 minute 43.371. He's now a 10th clear of Mick Schumacher, with the whole pack separated now by 0.5 of a second rather than 4. Robert Wickens crosses the line. He improves but remains in 11th place. Still not in the top 10 though at this stage, and also just like teammate Habsburg, just getting used to the GP2 car when he drives there next season. Here comes Mitch Evans, who comes down the pit straight, and Evans will cross the line, and he does not improve. He remains in 16th place with that lap. Schumacher didn't improve, and he remains in 2nd, still a 10th back from Lando Norris, as Markelov about to start a lap in a little bit with just under 3 minutes to go in this end of season test. Nicholas Latifi, what's his second sector like? And he's 1/10 down on Norris in the second sector. Latifi looks to be on an improvement, but we will wait and see what the Canadian does as he tries to hook up this last sector now then on the track. And Nicholas Latifi around the triple right-hander he goes on the racetrack. And let's see what the young Canadian can do. Getting confused there with fellow compatriot Lance Stroll, as Latifi now then round the left-hander he goes, as he will soon approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack. And let's see what Nicholas Latifi can do. Can he get out of that dreaded 19th place? Can he find some time to get near teammate Alexander Albon? Latifi down the pit straight and across the line goes the young Canadian. Latifi crosses the line and he goes up to 5th. He in fact beats his teammates up into P5. Goes Nicholas Latifi, so he's finding some time in that car. Habsburg doesn't improve, remains 16th for the moment. Here's Albon. Can he try and improve just like teammate Latifi? Albon round the final turn and onto the pit straight goes the Thai driver, and Albon is going to cross the line and he doesn't improve, remains 9th with that lap there. Then as Alesi is about to start another lap, looking to try and get out of that dreaded last place himself. Louis Delétraz, who's down in 18th at the moment. Can he find some improvement in the Macamo now then? Up towards the final 2 turns goes the young Swiss driver, and the Ferrari young driver, I should point out. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Louis Delétraz, as he will now cross the line, and the young Swiss driver remains in 18th place. No improvement for him as Eriksson starts a lap himself. As wow, a blown engine there for Robert Wickens. So Robert Wickens coming back into the pits with a blown engine right in the face of Mitch Evans. So luckily got it back to the pits before it became too severe. Here is Artem Markelov, and he's dead level with Lando Norris in the middle sector there, both setting an identical time in the middle sector. And Markelov looking at an improvement himself as he just goes out of that 90-degree left-hander. Just under a minute left of this end-of-season test, and there are still improvements coming the way so far in this testing session. Markelov round the 90-degree right and then into the left-hander. He will go now then. And let's see what Artem Markelov can manage as he will approach the final 2 corners on the racetrack now then. And let's see if this is going to be an improvement for Artem Markelov. Up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight. 30 seconds left on the clock now then. Markelov down the pit straight. Is this an improvement for the Russian? Across the line goes Artem Markelov, and no, it's not. He lost time in the last sector and remains in 4th place. Lost a lot of time, in fact 4/10 to be exact, as Albon goes back into the pits. Here's Alesi now then, just going up towards the hotel section to try and get out of last place. So as he rounds that left-hander, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of this end of season test. And there you go, free practice is over. It didn't even give Alesi a chance to finish the lap there, as I didn't quite get a picture of that, but I will get a picture of that of the results when I look back on the Twitch stream, so I will be able to get the results down in a little bit. But as you saw there, Lando Norris was quickest in the end, with Mick Schumacher in 2nd, and then it was Dan Ticktum, I believe, in 3rd, Artem Markelov 4th, Antonio Felix da Costa 5th, and then I think it was in 6th place. No, it was Latifi 5th with da Costa in 6th. And all the way down in last was Giuliano Alesi. Alesi didn't even improve on that lap. For some reason, X-Patch didn't allow him to finish that lap. A little bit of an odd one there. I've never witnessed that at all there. So you will see the results in a little bit. But that has been it for the end of season test for IFMC GP2. That's the last bit of them for season 4 this season. I hope you've enjoyed it. It was a very close session with the whole pack separated by 0.5 of a second. And, well, a very close session in the end for all these guys. But there you have it, guys. That has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at a later time of 4:30 PM BST, due to the F1 race at Hungary for the GP3 end of season test, where only 16 drivers will be taking part in that, and that is mainly because Willows Racing, of course, have that end of season test ban, and the 2 teams that were in it last season, Dorado Junior and Auto Jamaica, are not in the series anymore. Dorado, of course, have been promoted to GP2, and Auto Jamaica have pulled out altogether. And the 2 teams replacing them are still yet to be announced. So it's only going to be 16 cars and 8 teams taking part in the end of season test tomorrow. So there could be a chance that we could finish the session early, providing that GPX patch doesn't do the same thing as it did today with IFMC GP2. But anyway, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I will see you then, guys, tomorrow for the final bits of action of the Season 4 IFMC Championship, courtesy of the IFMC GP3 end of season test here at Yas Marina. Until then, take care.